Hello, welcome back to the Too Tall Sports Podcast. Glad to have you in here today. My 2 cent segment is going to be about week 2 in the NFL. Just wanted to mention a few topics that I liked, or at least I saw over the weekend, and the overarching theme here. We have to remember who we are in the NFL. And week 2 kind of brought some of us back down to earth and maybe boosted some other of us to see really how good we are. So, for example, I'll start with New Orleans. After a classic overreaction in week 1, let's talk about how the Saints came back to earth in week 2. Specifically, Jameis Winston. So Jameis, he had a huge week 1, and he had 5 touchdowns against the Packers. And then he followed that up with 0 touchdowns this week against Carolina Panthers. I saw a funny meme over the weekend where Jameis's famous celebration is he has this thing called eating W's. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it's like a W and he eats it to eat wins, basically. That's like his thing. And then there was a picture next to that of him holding the iPad playbook thing that all the NFL teams had from last year, where he was a backup, like, what the hell am I doing here? So we got extreme Jameis in week 1, and then we got normal Jameis, or at least less than Jameis in week 2. This is who Jameis is. He is going to throw the ball to the other team. For example, he had 111 yards on 11 of 22 passing and 2 interceptions. So he came back to earth. Big surprise. He was also sacked 4 times as well. So, week 1, Jameis only threw 150 yards. Yes, he had 5 touchdowns, but he only threw 150 yards or 148. And this week, 111. So Jameis is still Jameis. He did have LASIK, apparently, either last year or the year before. And he was the first quarterback to ever go 30 picks and 30 touchdowns. Hopefully his vision is more 20/20 now and not his touchdown to interception ratio. But we'll see. I think he'll be fine. It's just everyone got all hyped about Jameis. Let's temper our expectations on him. Let's flip over to the other side of Monday Night Football, which was Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. A lot of people overreacted and forgot who Aaron Rodgers was, and rightfully so. He had a very tumultuous offseason. He didn't play any preseason at all, barely had any practice time until he reported to the training camp. But they played against the rebuilding Lions, and, well, Jared Goff is less than stellar, shall we say. And historically, Aaron Rodgers is 18-5 against the Lions. So he owns them. And Aaron Rodgers was only, the MVP about 7-8 months ago. It's not like he forgot who he was, right? So we're remembering who Aaron Rodgers is. Still MVP caliber. He made some incredible throws last night, 4 touchdowns. Aaron Jones was all over the place. Devontae Adams had a huge game. Even Tunyon, the tight end, was everywhere. And Aaron was making Aaron Rodgers type throws. Obviously, he's not going to be able to repeat the success he had last year. Too much turmoil in the offseason, too much dysfunction in the front office between him and them. They don't give him the weapons that he desperately needs. So I don't see this going as well as last year. They got a tough test at San Francisco, even though San Francisco is banged up a little bit. We'll see what happens to the Packers. They don't look, their defense is bad right now. They don't look like a championship caliber team. And so they're just kind of, I think, holding it together all year. I don't know if the Lions game tells us anything, but they're going to hold it together. And Rodgers is still Rodgers. Let's talk about the Jets for a second. If you in general watch a quarterback's pro day, not the combine, but their pro day leading up to the draft, you get to see some spectacular things from that quarterback, like big time throws with nobody on defense and nobody guarding you, or there's no pressure. There's nobody guarding the receivers. So they look pretty good in those pro days. And Zach Wilson is one of those guys that looks good in a pro day. Every year there are busts in the first round, whether it's quarterbacks or position players, or, there always are busts in the first round. I'm not saying Zach Wilson's a bust yet. It's only been 2 games. 2 things that stick out. The Jets are terrible, and that organization doesn't develop anybody, right? And we'll talk about Sam Darnold in a second, which I have to give praise to. As usual, Bill Belichick faced a rookie quarterback in Zach Wilson, and he dialed up a great defense against him and dominated Zach Wilson to the tune of 4 interceptions thrown by Wilson. His head coach, Robert Saleh, the Jets, said that Zach needed to be better at the boring throws and make the easier throws instead of going for the home run every play, which is very true. And you can tell on some of those picks that Wilson threw, you're just like, you're just trying to hit a grand slam and nobody's on base. It just doesn't make sense. You're giving the ball away to the other team, which, as people know, if you turn the ball over in the NFL, it's not going to go well for you. At BYU, you can get away with some of that stuff. You can throw downfield and get lucky sometimes, or hope the defense isn't paying attention, or you catch somebody off guard because the talent just isn't as good. When you play in the NFL, you're playing against some good dudes on defense that will just easily pick off just bad decision making by the quarterback. So I'm not saying Zach Wilson's a bust yet. However, he looks the worst of the QBs of this rookie class so far. Let me talk about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has had a great 2 first weeks of the season, and back to it, reminding us of who people are. This just reminds us how bad the Jets were. I mean, Adam Gase was his coach and basically was the beneficiary of being one of Peyton Manning's offensive coaches during his career and boosted Adam Gase to being a guy. No, he was terrible as a Jets coach, and he was terrible as a developer of Sam Darnold as well. Now, you can't blame everything on the coaches. Sam's making all the throws, and he was not that great for the Jets, right? He just wasn't. And it was funny last night on Sunday night when they're asking Zach Wilson if he saw ghosts out there, because infamously, Sam Darnold said he was seeing ghosts on a couple of plays for the Jets. It's just not good for the Jets. But Sam Darnold, it just shows you when you have some competent NFL coaches and you got talent around you, you can be successful and effective. He got his revenge against the Jets in week 1, and he dominated a good Saints team on Sunday, throwing for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in week 2. So I guess it kind of tells us maybe Sam Darnold could be a good player in this league. I don't know. But when you have talent around you, you can be something for sure. It just also reminds us that where you play is much more important than who you're always playing with. It's not so much about individual talent. Maybe this is Sam Darnold's chance to change the narrative a little bit. So we'll see if he can do that in Carolina. The biggest surprise of the weekend has to be the Raiders, right? You have that big, crazy win against the Ravens last week on Monday Night Football at home at Allegiant Stadium. Gruden couldn't find the kicker. He pulled the offense off, put him back on, took a penalty, all the craziness of the Raiders last year. So okay, all of that was a fluke, right? They're going to go to Pittsburgh in week 2 and lose. Well, they didn't. They beat Pittsburgh. So they have 2 wins against 2 AFC North powerhouse teams, the Ravens and the Steelers, normal playoff teams. That's pretty impressive for them. Derek Carr has been great so far. If you go back to last year, the last 2 games of that last year and 2 games this year, so the last 4 total regular season games, he's thrown for over 300 yards in all 4 of those games. He looks really good. The tight end, obviously, Darren Waller's been great. They figured out the deep threat in Henry Ruggs, who they were hoping for. And they did this all the last week without Josh Jacobs, their running back, who is their starting running back. The defense looks much improved. So this Raiders team might be the real deal. I don't know. They fool us a lot, and they've done this before where they've started 0-2 and then disaster hit. I'm not sure how to feel about John Gruden, if he can coach in this league against the new elite coaches that there are, but the Raiders look much improved. So props to them. Last thing I want to mention this week is we're also reminded about 2 non-surprises in this league. Tua Tagovailoa and Carson Wentz are both hurt again. Let me disclaim this real quick. I do not wish bad on anyone, and I want no one to get hurt in any sport. I want everyone at their best and most effective athlete selves they can be. But this is a recurring theme, unfortunately, for these 2 guys. Tua has been hurt since college. I don't believe in him as a quarterback. I don't see the it factor. I don't see the big arm. I don't see the special. I don't see what people see in Tua. Yes, he's accurate, but I don't know. I don't know if he's a franchise level quarterback. I don't see it in Tua. Wentz we'll see what Miami decides to do with Tua long term, but he's hurt again. He's small. I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of Tua. Carson Wentz, on the other hand, got hurt getting twisted around on a tackle, and he tried to make a spectacular throw while falling to the ground and got hurt. He is also in the Zach Wilson school of thought. Even though Wentz has been in the league for longer, he plays hero ball sometimes. And a lot of these injuries can be avoided by Carson Wentz taking what the defense gives him, taking a sack, and not putting themselves in harm's way like he's been doing. And he got hurt again. Carson Wentz, the problem I have is he's shown you how good he can be. He was MVP caliber with the Eagles that year when they went 13-3, and then Nick Foles took over and they won the Super Bowl. So he's capable leading up into that injury of being an MVP type of quarterback. However, he's not the best decision maker with his, thought process on either getting down, getting out of bounds, not making bad throws. He tries too hard. And I get it. There's a lot of pressure on him. He was a high draft pick in Philadelphia. It was really tough on him media-wise and all that. And Nick Foles was the savior, and it was a tough spot for him. But what you can't fix is recklessness. And Carson Wentz is reckless on the field with his body and his decision-making. I don't know what the Colts are going to be able to do with Carson Wentz long-term. I don't think he's the long-term answer. I think he's partially damaged goods. I hate saying that because I want him to do well, but I'm not. I just don't know what is his future in the NFL if he keeps getting hurt like this. So that's my 2 cents for the week. Biggest surprise of the weekend has to be the Raiders. We'll see if they can sustain it. But I think we all need to calm down as we all get crazy after week one. We are reminded who people are, and usually people fall back into the median average of their talent, whether it's the teams or individuals. So exciting first couple weeks of football. I think there have been some good games and definitely plenty more to come. So thank you for listening to my 2 cents this week. And let's get to our interview with Randall Thompson, the founder of Dugout Mugs. Check it out.